going live. Levy. Alright, it's working. Okay. So we were practicing cast shadows today. And it's really hard and annoying. So let's do it. My dudes. If I can figure out what I'm doing again. Okay. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Also, the music is broken, so I didn't really have time to fix it just yet. Good. Okay. This. One. Alright, resources. Okay. Almost done. Almost. I'm ready. I am ready now. On to practicing form and stuff. Once I get another thing ready. So we need horizon line. Practicing cast shadows today, by the way. If I didn't say that already. Let's make our canvas a little longer. I don't know what's up with Procreate having weird problems. On our light source, we'll have the sun. So we'll have a light source of the sun. And we'll have just one somewhere in the scene. Okay, so we got our light sources. Let's do basic shape. Do the cylinder first with 2 shadows. Okay. So let's put a cylinder inside of this now. Corner there. Hold on, let's fix that. Since that's above the horizon line, you can't see that edge. This edge here. See what's back one. Alright, so now let's trace our source from the sun first. Or a really distant light source, because the sun would be parallel, a lot of parallel light. Maybe we can add in a third light source like that. So this is probably going to go all the way off the page. Or it is going to go all the way off the page. Cylinder's too big, let's change that. let's try that. The problem with this one, it's so far away that the shadow's just going to be super far away. So let's change that. We need to make a really, really tiny cylinder. So let's have a little viewport that we can work within. So this is going to be our viewport of what we can actually see. Place everything I want to inside of that, and the vanishing points, everything else is outside. Okay, this should be a little better. So let's try this now. Still have it. So the shadow would be like that. I think what we probably have to do is just do this. So we can, oops, move the sun up. There we go. That's a better angle. Okay, so we got our 4 points. We can throw in a cylinder now, or ellipse. It touches all 4 points. So now this is my outside edge of my shadow. Ooh. Oops. So that's an accurate shadow for that whatever direction, sunlight, whatever. Now, let's create another one. Let's fade that out. Let's do another shadow from this light. And we'll do a third one with the sun, which is just parallel. This light also is pretty low. I need to find the center before I can do that. See, from this angle, it's a little more clear where the edges are of the cylinder, or it's a little, or they're more rotated, so it's more important that we do this. Okay, so this one goes there. That's my shadow for that one. Just needs to touch all 4 points. Oops. But it can't go past those lines. Hey, Amir. How's it going? so that's my shadow from that light. If I change this to black, let's add another shadow from the sun, so it'd be parallel. Wait. So now we define this. Cut it in half. This is my 4 points. Now the parallel lines. Okay, so this line, okay. Change that to 50%. Alright, so there's our object with 3 different light sources. One from the sun, one from this light, and one from that light. So that's just the basic cylinder. Let's do a sphere. Spheres are a nuisance. So for a sphere on this, get rid of this guy. Actually, let's shade it. 3 light sources, good grief. Overcomplicated. Let's not shade it. Let's just flatten it and leave it for now. Let's see. So sphere. Perfect circle. That's what a sphere looks like, or a perfect sphere anyway. And it will be floating a little bit, so let's establish its point of where it is. Right here, that'll be fine. Vanishing points. We need to find the center of the sphere and the center of that thing. Find the sphere's width. Then let's clean this up so we can actually see. Just do this. Alright, ellipse needs to touch all 4 corners. So it's just sort of be lighted only from above, so we can find its roundness now. Where this intersects with this intersects with that. These are my edges of my sphere. Here as well, and right here. So those are the points in space in which my sphere, or that's the points of my sphere that connect. I'm trying to figure this out. So from here's where the light source is more important. So let's go from this light source. cut straight to the middle so we can find an ellipse. That is perpendicular. Okay, so this, with this cylinder, where this intersects with this line, with this ellipse, not a cylinder, right here, that's the brightest point of the sphere, I think. That doesn't seem right. Seems like it should be exactly on the edge there, and it should be. So if I also do that there, I'm so very confused. No, we'll skip that step, it's confusing. What am I even trying to find again? Did I even need those 4 points? So yes, it was necessary so I could find the right angle for this ellipse, I think. This should be pretty narrow. I know that is correct, okay. So this is the brightest point, but on the other side of the sphere, because this is slightly above it. You just can't see it. And this here. Where these intersect, basically the ends. Here and here. So these are my 4 dots right there. I might put a different color. Here, 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 and here. Spheres are so confusing. Cut that to the middle. Then pull this to the bottoms right there. The top one right there. Oops. middle one, or the left one. I think that's the left one, that's the right one. Where is it? Yeah, it's the left one. Okay. So it goes right there. And the last one, right there. So these 4 points will be the ellipse of my shadow. The shadow cannot go outside of those lines because the light can see there. So this will be somewhat the shape of my ellipse. Should be really accurate, or should be really close. Let's fill it in like that. Get rid of all these lines. That I feel that's, I think that's accurate. Looks accurate to me. Okay. So let's try that again until it becomes more fluent and less confusing. Let's do it from that light source. So same process. I don't need that just yet. I just need the bottom ones. Okay, so then we find shoot, what's the process again? I think we find the ellipse next. Oh, that's right, we got cut it in half from here. That goes through there. And so shoot, I've already forgotten. Watch this again. Oh, okay. So these 4 lines are not necessary for every single one. Dang it. These are subjective to the light, not objective to the sphere, or subjective to the sphere. Let's go back to this. So where this touches right here, it's right there, and right there, very narrow ellipse. Very, very narrow. Barely even noticeable. Something like that, you get through. Then draw a line perpendicular to there. Then ellipse. Just facing the light. Should be a little narrower based on intuition. My gosh. A little wider. How does that feel? A little wider. Feels pretty good like that. Let's have a little wider. Go with that. Okay, so now we have that. Now we take shoot. There's one point here, 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 and here. Is that right? I believe so. Okay. So that'll tell me where my lines ought to be. Let's go for the first one right there. This is so confusing. The ellipse. And that's my shadow from that. There's got to be an easier, less complicated way to do this for spheres. I'll have to look up cast shadows for spheres. Robert Laszlo Kiss. Let's see. Laszlo. This has been on cast shadows, maybe. Oops. I'll check them out more later. But thanks for the use or the reference or the whatever resource. I'm going to put spheres, cast shadows. Two parallel lines. See, picture framing it. Okay, so this lady has a much simpler method. Let's see if it works. Take these cast shadows, turn them off for a minute. So what she did was, assuming the sphere's on the ground, that is. Picture frame it. So you can find all 4 points of your sphere. Oops. And then, what did she do next? You just make little points where sphere intersects with your box. Okay, then you just simply do this. Except I don't think this is going to work for this specific angle. But we'll see. Let's look at corners. Yeah, this isn't going to work for... No, wait, let's see. It might actually. So, look at that. And then the very center. Oops. Okay, and then let's mark those intersecting points. Top, top, bottom. Right there. The side. Which is this left one. Other side. Right one. I don't think that's gonna work, but we'll see. Really? Oh my gosh. Sometimes I really hate Procreate. That's too flat, so I wonder if this, it doesn't seem right. It seems like a really flat sphere from this lighting angle. If I were to attack. I wonder if I align it to the right perspective, if that will actually work. Let's see. So if I line up my picture frame instead of whatever way it was to my perspective horizon line. See if that changes anything. We can do it the other method and see if that, see how they compare. Actually, what if we do a box? That's not going to work. You can only choose one side. I still don't think that'll work because it has to be relative to this. So what if we do the box relative to this? That's still whack. The heck? So this method only works when it's in that specific perspective. Same with this, only really works at that specific perspective. If you want something more accurate at a different angle, you'll have to be more accurate or guess. So yeah, I guess with the sphere, it's extremely complicated and you have to do it right. Otherwise, it's wrong. So I guess I just gotta get good with this method, I suppose. Now, I want to try something here. Experimentation. So if I can find the top and bottom. See, the bottom's right here, I don't know. Way down there. Go. This is so complicated. Very frustrating. So then these touch the edges. Because those are my 2 points relative to this light. through the middle. So this point right here, on the other side of the sphere, is the brightest point, because it's this, we're looking at the back part of the sphere. Then cut this in half. Draw a sphere that is parallel with that. I think it'll be pretty narrow because it's facing that pretty head on. It's not going to be completely narrow, but close. It's a little bit off. Oh my gosh, this is so complicated. Just to find an accurate shadow of the sphere. So that needs to be wider. That's feeling okay right there. Okay, where these two intersect. And here and here, so let's change those colors. Those are my 4 points that the light hits. Hopefully. So then if I go back to this, come through here. This is the bottom. I'm going to go for the bottom and top first. Okay, so that's my 2 spots on the bottom, so it'll be along at the center. The faster way but less accurate, I will show you in just a minute. I'm almost done with this one. Once I get this figured out, I will show you. I'll paste the link of the video I sent. Or watched, sorry. Here. It's right there, 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 and there. In theory, this is my where my ellipse needs to be. So touch all 4 of these points, but cannot go outside of those. In theory, that's what my shadow would look like. Get rid of all these lines. In theory, that's what it would look like. And that looks, I think that's pretty accurate. But it takes a sure heck of a long time to do that. Okay, so the faster way that this lady did, here's the link to it. What she does is that only kind of works in a perspective like on the left here. If you see this, it only works in kind of a perspective where the light source is behind your object and you're viewing it that way, because it's relying on a square in space that's that will be inaccurate if you change that perception. So from a perspective of this light source to this sphere from here to there, it'll be somewhat accurate. But from the light source from here to this one, it will not be accurate, very accurate, and I'll show you why. So her method is you just, it's pretty decent if you're just trying to get a basic, simple, whatever, right? She picture frames the object like that. And marks the points where they intersect. And this is assuming that the object is on the ground as well. I don't know how she would do it for if the object's floating. But so she picture frames it, and then she marks these 4 points on the edges where the lines intersect with the sphere. And then from this light source, pulling from the bottom where it would land on your plane, you go through to where it goes the edges of your box and also the center. And then from this light source, you just pull it through the edges. So if you connect right there, the top and bottom, there. The bottom, of course, is right next to it, there. And on this, since so they're very close, you're gonna have to kind of guess, right, it's probably right there. And then your cast shadow would just be this. And that's somewhat accurate, but it makes your sphere look like, well, let me see. Yeah, it makes your sphere, if you do it exactly like that, it makes your sphere look like a paper cutout. So then you kind of have to guess and move your shadow up and over a little to kind of make it not look like a paper cutout. So it's a quick and easy way, but the problem where it becomes really noticeably inaccurate is when you try to do it from this light source on the left here. You can't do that from here because now it's a paper cutout that you're going from left to right. So if we try to pull through this here, and through the middle as well, you can already kind of tell it's an extremely narrow sphere. And it doesn't quite seem right. So here, there, there. But it is relatively quick. And I do like that. I think the quickest method out of all of these is just understanding it every way possible and then simply being intuitive and doing it yourself or doing it by freehand. So like that. Problem with this is it looks extremely odd and very narrow, like the light is very right up next to it, when in reality it should be something more like kind of like that, or rather should be something like that, sort of, if that makes sense. It doesn't quite look right. There's something off about it. But maybe perhaps if you, let's see, actually, if you, maybe her method is reliant upon the fact that your box or the picture frame is relative to the light source. So that might be the scenario. So let's see if that works. So if this were relative to it, how would I find that? think I'll need this. Can you do that? Or rather, for the bottom. So, no, I don't think that's going to work actually. You kind of have to, I suppose, because I don't know of a better way, but you have to, it's kind of similar to, yes, very similar to cylinders, but the problem with the sphere is it's not a cylinder and it's round all over, so that makes it different. And spheres are the hardest ones that I'm finding out. Cylinders are pretty simple, but because you have one, with cylinders you have a flat surface on both sides and then just a round space, but with a sphere it's round all over and it's very 3D and confusing. But I think it's really difficult to see how would this even be. How can I even find the orientation of this, because it's not. I think you just kind of have to guess where the orientation would be if it were facing that. Somehow something like this. And you just picture frame that around your sphere. And kind of guess where the edges would be. I mean, I guess you could do it that way. But I feel like if you're already guessing, it's probably better just to guess all the time, or probably better to just get intuitive with it and then just guess. See, I guess if you align the picture frame box to the object that's being cast on, it is a little more accurate. Oops. But you're still guessing, and it's not, it wouldn't quite, it still seems a little off, because I was guessing, of course, but it seems as though that is a quick and easy method that isn't necessarily accurate, but works decently well. And then of course there's the method of just guessing yourself, so just like, okay, the top somewhere there, bottom somewhere there. I know it's going to be something like that. And just kind of figure it out. Oops. I don't know, it's like an in-between kind of where you're guessing but being accurate with your guess, an estimated guess, I suppose. I've never liked myself being super technical stuff, so I'm probably going to try to, I like to know how to do it technically, but then kind of try to intuitively create it with the knowledge of how it is, supposedly. And I guess if you're doing like a project or something, it'd be worth doing it very technically. That way you can get really good shadows and stuff for your portfolio or something. But I'm going to go eat something. It's lunchtime, so thanks for hanging out. And I made like no progress. I did, good grief, I only did one cylinder and like a few things into the sphere. This is ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. This is the first, I guess, iteration of practicing cast shadows, so I'll hopefully get a lot more better or something. Anyway, thanks. I'll see y'all later.